time for the drivers and teams to pack up and leave Zolder in Belgium to travel halfway around the world to South Africa for round 3 of the GT3 Championship Season 5, which will take place at Kyalami. The Drivers' Championship standings coming out of Zolder: Hubert Eigner with victory moves to the top of the championship table. In second place, John Becker, who took 3rd, and Antonis McCormick took 3rd place in the Drivers' Championship following a storming drive from the back of the field to take 2nd place. Kirill Pojarski slipped down into 4th place, struggling in the rain. Conrad McCarthy in 5th place was just 1 place ahead of him, who also slipped down the table. Victoria Cutiar entered the top 10 for the first time following a 5th place finish. Daniel Blomqvist has been moved up to a higher tier, but he's still in the top 10 table following his victory in round 1. This event should see him drop out of the top 10 table. In 8th place is Michael van Rooyen, who slipped down the table following a really bad result at Zolder. In 9th place, it's a new entry, Manuel Duque, the league coordinator, with a 4th place finish at Zolder, moving him right up the table. And in 10th place, another new entry, Urti, with 8th place at Zolder, gains enough points to feature just inside the top 10. Following round 2 at Zolder, a number of new teams were registered for the Tier 7 division. Shadow Lotus AMR, consisting of drivers Kirill Pojarski and Steph Farrell, moved straight into the number 1 position in their Aston Martin Racing V8 Vantage. In second place, TWG Motorsports, consisting of Dami Ayo and Sindri Ragnarsson in their Mercedes AMG GT3. And in 3rd place, 420 Racing. I wonder if these two know what 420 can mean in some circles. Consists of Lev Bolokon and Manuel Duque in their Bentley Continental GT3. And in 4th place, a pre-existing team going into Zolder, SVR team, consisting of Daniel Yellon and Thomas Sajak in their Ferrari 488 GT3. And in 5th place, Beeswax Racing, consisting of Steve Bezic and Niels Nins in their McLaren 720S GT3. I think there's still time for more teams to register for the next round, and it would be great to see a full teams competition going through to the end of the season. It looks like the weather gods have not been kind. Following the heavy rain at Zolder, it's more rain here at Kyalami. Not as heavy as Zolder, but it's making the challenge on strategy very difficult for the drivers. It seems not wet enough for wet tyres, which overheat rapidly, but it's too wet for dries. So drivers really do have a difficult choice ahead of them, and car setups are going to be key. Let's see how qualifying progresses before the main event. Let's join our 2nd place car from qualifying today, Michael van Rooyen on his qualifying lap, just passing over the start-finish line. Technically going through the first corner, but nobody ever acknowledges. They all call the next corner T1. Crowthorne, difficult left-hander, lots of heavy braking required, and down in the first gear, then through the kink of Duke's Gate sweep. Then braking hard again down into 2nd gear for Babek. And it's onto a short straight. Open up the throttle and try and move up the gears. Move over to the left before the sweeping right-hander of Sunset. This will be a favourite overtaking place during the race. Keep the car over to the left, try and carry as much speed as possible, then get over to the right, ready for the tight left-hander of Clubhouse. A short straight follows before you come into the S's. Just brushing the brakes as you go into the S's, try and keep as much speed as possible. And then coming out of the S's, climbing up the hill towards the hairpin bend of Lukop. Braking just as you can see the full bill poster in front of you. Turn the car around and come back down the hill, trying to carry as much speed as possible. Looking to turn left as just go underneath a gantry ahead of you, and we're going through Mineshaft. We're coming out of Mineshaft. The next turn ahead is the Crocodiles. Having to brake hard and down to 3rd or possibly 2nd gear for the right-hander. Try not to drift too far off the track. Accelerate away, you're looking to Watch the brakes as you pass the little white marker on the left, but don't catch the sausage curb on the inside. Straighten up, coming up towards the final corner at Ingwe, and you turn left and onto the start finish straight, and it's over the line, taking Michael van Rooyen into second place for this round of the GT3 Championship. So looking at the results of qualifying for round 3 of the Season 5 GT3 Championship, Lev Balokin qualified in first place, the only driver to get just under the 147 mark with a 146.989. Right behind him was Michael van Rooyen, who did a 147.259, closely followed by Hubert Aigner, who did a 147.280. Just 0.2 of a second separating those drivers. From second down into 8th place, all the drivers were in the 147s, and from 9th place all the way down into 18th place, all the drivers were in the 148s. So only 19th onwards were outside the 148 mark. So all drivers in Tier 7 covered by just 3 seconds for qualifying at the Kyalami circuit. Let's move on to the main event. Van Rooyen leading out the field as they form up side by side to open up round 3 of Season 5 GT3 Championship hosted by Apex Online Racing. The front of the field giving the rear of the field time to get together. Coming down towards the final corner, Ingwe. When they come round onto the start finish straight, they'll roll towards the start line, and when the lights go green they'll be away. Van Rooyen leading out, Aigner current championship leader in second place, Hume in the Lamborghini in third following qualifying, but Hume has yet to finish a round of the GT3 Championship, and they're almost 5 wide coming into the first corner. This will be dangerous. Van Rooyen in front, Hume behind, and McCormick making a bold move. McCormick, last week coming from virtually the back of the field to finish inside the top 3. Already in the top 3 this week. Can he stay there? Looking for a way round. Hume looks towards the right of the Lamborghini as they sweep round Sunset. Oh, they touch. Brief touch of the back of the Lamborghini. Spins them both out. McCormick hits the wall hard. Big damage to that Nissan. And Hume looked to not be moving. Nope, stuck against the wall. That'll cost him dear. He'll be at the back of the field now. Aigner will move into second place. So current championship leader already into second. Close behind him is Farrell of Shadow Lotus, Aston Martin. Another team that formed since the last round. Bajarski, who did well in Spain but has struggled since. Currently down in 10th position, just behind his closest rival in the championship, McCarthy. McCarthy, Season 4 champion, but not been enjoying the rain so far. In the front of the field, Sajak in 5th place. Let's have a look at the inside there of the Mercedes as they're coming up towards Le Coupe at the top of the course. And he just makes it work. He's up the inside. Sajak got up the inside of Ragnarsson then. Made him go onto the damper part of the track where the grip was put worse. And the Ferrari's away. So Sajak into 4th place. Ragnarsson down to 4th. Duque trying to have a look as they come through the crocodiles. Not close enough. But Sajak takes 4th place. And looks to be pulling away a little from the Mercedes already. And behind, Duque's dropped back. Duque dropping back several places there. Merchant's through. And McCormick in the Nissan is also through. But McCormick goes quite wide. in Babek. Very wide, well off the track, and he's dropping back a number of places. Duque's through, Przaszki's through, and McCarthy. That's likely to have put McCormick back down into 10th. So I've still got it all to do. And that looks like Curtis making a move up the inside of Sunset on the McLaren. Much better grip on the inside. And Ayo's also hovering in the background, looking for a way through. Urtis through. He moves back behind the Aston Martin, but was unable to keep it behind him. They approach the S's, start to climb up towards Le Coupe. So into lap 5, Dami Ayo trying to get past the McLaren of Dominic Hees. Seeing the McLaren sliding the real handful of a car in these conditions. And Ayo's trying up the inside as they come up towards the top of the climb and the hairpin. Not quite close enough. Got very close to each other then, but kept it clean. And Hees stays in front. Ayo tries to the left, tries to the right, and tries to the left again. But Hees just keeps it going in a straight line. Oh, but has Ayo done enough? Hees has gone wide. Ayo's up the inside. And it's Coutillard, who's also having a look now. Not close enough for Coutillard. Dropping down through the crocodiles towards the final corner. Coutillard's trying to be inside. It's touched. Hees has been touched and spun out. Coutillard goes through. Balokin goes through. And Hees is stuck there whilst the entire field goes past him. Disaster for Hees. Drops out from 12th. Right down the field. Coutillard didn't wait. That might want to end up with the stewards. Etiquette within Apex Online Racing is if you hit a driver, you should wait for them to rejoin the track. And that was definitely looked like a touch on the back of Hees's McLaren. Coutillard and Balocon. Coutillard having moved into 13th place following that spin for Hees. Balocon moving up from the back of the field, started last. Don't know if it was an issue during qualifying, but it looks to be up the inside. Yes, easily through on the inside of Coutillard. That looks to be going through the S's just before they climb up the mountain towards the hairpin. Balocon cleanly through there into 13th place. Coutillard down to 14th. Locking going a little wide, but get away with that. Coutillard's already dropped too far behind. Oh, all that work, and Balocon has a spin on his own. Right round, full 360. And gathers himself up and gets going again. But how many places will he have dropped? That was on the final corner. Perhaps just caught a little bit of the curb. But the Bentley went right round on him, full 360. Lucky, I guess, not to come into contact with the wall or another driver. The computer indicating at the moment that Balokin's dropped all the way down to 17th. So 3 places lost in that spin. Felipe Silva. A new driver this week, having joined the league, following vacancies created by drivers who have dropped out or unable to continue. On a baptism of fire in these weather conditions. Felipe closing in on Ivanovs in a Lexus. The reputation of a Lexus is it's very good in the wet and rainy conditions. Felipe has a slight twitch then from the back of his car. Looks like Hume will take the opportunity to move through. So Hume moves into 15th place, Silva down to 16th. Balocon closing up from behind, but still 2 seconds away. So we're in lap 8. Hume now closing in on the back of Ivanovs in one of the Lexus. The Lexus is supposed to be good in the rain. But Ivanov down in 14th place at the moment. Hume closing in rapidly. Able to make the Lamborghini move with some pace. Heads up the inside of Ivanov. Sweeps round. And takes that position with some ease. Hume now up to 14th place. So these four very close to each other. Ivanov's now in front in the Lexus, having got past Hume again. Reversing the pass that was made just a moment ago. Coming down towards the Crocodiles. And Hume's gone wide. Hume's gone very wide. Hume's off. Ivanov's goes through. Silva goes through. Bellicon at the back. And Hume rejoins, but a good couple of seconds behind these three now. Coming down to the last corner, onto the start-finish straight. Ivanov's in front, Silva right on the back of him, and Bellicon also having a look. And Silva's pulled out, he's making a pass on Ivanov on the inside, coming into T1, and Bellicon's trying to follow him. Silva's definitely through, and I think Bellicon's through too. Ivanov losing and Silva overcooked it, went wide. Straight through on T1, so Bellicon goes through. Silva tucks back in, and Ivanov moves down into 16th place. The next small group on the road really is McCarthy, Erty, and McCormick in the Nissan. McCarthy looks to have lost touch with Przaszki, his closest rival on the championship. The Nissan of McCormick still sporting those scars from the first lap of the race. It's very close. The Nissan having a bit of a wriggle there. Just behind these, Dami Ayo in the Mercedes. McCarthy looks to have gone offline there. Nope, McCarthy making an attack, but didn't come off. Erty stays in front, and now McCormick's trying to come back at McCarthy. Trying either side. Coming down the hill, just see a glimpse of Ayo there in the background, trying to close in on these three. And Erty keeping it tidy in front. One small mistake, and McCormick was put his car up the inside, and McCarthy there, going around the Crocodiles. Coming down to T1, and now McCormick's through. He put McCarthy off his line, did exactly what was required, and he's in front for T1. And just sweeps around, he just misses the Mercedes right in the middle of the track. That's Ragnarsson, must have had a spin. Look, everybody missed him. Dived either side, and they've all kept going. McCarthy, and it looks like Ayo's made an attack there, thanks to his teammate having had a spin. So Erty pulls away a little with the distraction of the Mercedes in the middle of a track, but McCormick is closing in quickly. McCarthy dropping a little bit behind, and Bellicon trying to catch up with him now, according to the computer. I can't see Bellicon. I can see Dami Ayo, who's got ahead of McCarthy in the background. And let's catch up with Bellicon. He's going. And here's Coutillard behind him in the Mercedes. Oh, McCormick going well wide there. Just manages to keep it together when he rejoins the track. So just picking up that incident from McCarthy's perspective. Comes round the corner and finds Ragnarsson right in the middle of the track. Manages to follow McCormick around the Mercedes. But Dami Ayo went on the inside. Got side by side with McCarthy, and just off screen, Dami Ayo not able to get past McCarthy. Thought he was going to get the inside line there. So McCarthy hanging on to what appears to be 11th place at the moment. Computer will be very mixed up. Oh, he's gone wide. McCarthy went wide there. Caught a bit of grass, and that's allowed Dami Ayo through. Definitely confirming that 10th place for Ayo. McCarthy down to 11th. So we're back with Declan Hume, who's slipped back to 19th. Declan's been up and down the field a little bit in this race, possibly finding the conditions a bit challenging in a Lamborghini, known for being quite a handful of a car. And the grip is poor. So Declan's car showing some damage to the front nose. Coming down from the hairpin bend at the top of the course. Going up towards the crocodiles. Difficult right-hander. Dangerous to carry as much speed as you want to carry through there. Oh, he's gone wide. Oh, he's caught the grass and he's unsettled the car. It's gone straight into the wall. That's done no good at all. That will significantly damage the car, but he is just right next to the pit entrance. You can see how disjointed the nose is on that Lamborghini, but if there's anything for Declan, he is lucky enough that he was right next to the pit, so he was able to drive straight in and get repairs. But that'll take some time, and he's already in 20th place. So Declan will be right down the field, coming out from the pits from that one. Ragnarsson. Oh, this is what caused the spin for Ragnarsson when he was found in the middle of the track, tapped from behind by the Aston Martin. And the Aston Martin's not waited. Bajajski just presses on. The stewards might not look kindly on that if it's submitted for review. But Ragnarsson was totally turned around there and was found in the middle of a track by the chasing pack when they rejoined. So with Van Rooyen in lap 12, dipping into the damp part of the track there to cool his tyres down. Van Rooyen leading from the start, thanks to his pole position he set during qualifying. He's coming around the crocodiles to finish off another lap. Aigner, the gap to Aigner now, 3.5 seconds. I think that's been growing a little bit every single lap. So Van Rooyen, so far looking comfortable, but has a little spin. Commentator's curse. Spins right round, and it's one of those awkward spins where you end up fighting completely the wrong way. He reverses into the wall. Desperately trying to get going. Brings it round, but that's a bad loss for Van Rooyen. He's dropped from first down to third at the moment. And looks like a Lexus behind. So that implies Sajak has gone through. Sajak's gone through too. So Van Rooyen drops down to fourth place from first. Just the rear end just stepped out going around the last corner of the track before the start-finish line. Swung the car right round. And one of those really awkward spins where you end up facing right into the wall. You daren't back straight out into the track, otherwise you'll be hit by everybody that's coming. So Van Rooyen has shown that he has the pace. He just needs to gather himself together and get back up there. And that slip for Van Rooyen puts Aigner into first place. Aigner winning last time out at Zolder. And Aigner currently leading the Drivers' Championship. So in a prime position here to make maximum points and increase that lead over his competitors. Can Steph Farrell, who's been close behind him since the flag dropped, do anything about that? But with Aston Martins in first and second, Bajajski in 7th, Erti in 8th. The Aston Martin looks a strong car at Kyalami, certainly in this weather, but oh, Erti's gone very wide there. Very wide indeed. He's well off track, and that Dami Ayo will surely just drive through. Meanwhile, behind, it looks like Belocon has got the speed over McCormick. So 2 passes in one corner. Ayo through on Erti and Belocon through on McCormick. Belocon will be closing right up on the Aston Martin of Erti, and we'll try and catch him whilst he's distracted. Ayo moves up to 8th place. Erti drops to 9th, but Belocon, having just moved into 10th, will be wanting to get in there as fast as possible. Has a little look up the inside of the Aston Martin of Erti. It's too far back, but it might be in his mirrors, might be putting him off. He's still trying, Belocon. He's up the inside of the Aston Martin. No, just behind him. Mercedes comes down in front. Aston Martin second, and Balocca in the Bentley in third. Now Erti's trying to get that place back on the Mercedes, but it's not enough. The Mercedes got better traction on the outside. But Erti's offline. Will that let Balocca on through? No, it doesn't. Erti swings back to keep his place. And Erti dives into the pits. Possibly a wise move to get out of there. Get some fresh rubber on. Dami Ayo could breathe a little sigh of relief. But Balocca will be right on him. The gap ahead to Pojarski is 9 seconds. So Balocca knows if he can clear the Mercedes of Ayo, he's got a bit of clear track in front of him. McCormick in the meanwhile dropping off his group. I wonder if he has a problem or whether his tyres have finally given up. 2 seconds, nearly 3 seconds now the gap, and yet McCormick was fighting with Balocca for quite some time. Over 3 seconds now. And Balocca trying to get up the inside of the Mercedes. I think he might have done enough. Yep, he pulls in front. So Balocca on a charge. But what will this be doing to his tyres? Tyre management critical at this race. And it's the long game that matters rather than making quick passes. We're only 16 laps in. Van Rooyen starts his 14th lap. Goes around T1. Oh, and spins. Complete 360 again. And has to freeze as 2 of the cars come through. That would have been Danny Merchant and Manuel Duque. Eventually Van Rooyen gets going again. But rear tyres may be the problem there. Has he burnt out his rear tyres? This track being the worst possible. It's not wet and it's not dry. You can't use dries, you will not have enough grip, but if you use wets they overheat and burn out very quickly, and is Van Rooyen suffering that now as his rear tyres blown, which is causing him to spin. He has 2 spins now we've seen him do, and he's losing places. But how many places will he lose if he pits for new tyres? He's now got Pojarski in the Aston Martin closing in on him. So just with McCarthy now on lap 12. And oh, he's lost the rear end. Oh, he's gone hard straight into the barriers. That was so unfortunate. The rear end was lost. And just as the car spun, the tyres gripped again and just launched it straight into the wall. That's allowed Balocca through. It looks like some damage there to the front of a Lamborghini. So Balocca is away. Couillard is in the background. So not a great incident there for McCarthy. He was in touch with Pojarski for a long time, who is just behind in the Drivers' Championship, but now Pojarski's up in 7th and McCarthy is going backwards. Should be in 12th place, I think, when we go across the line. There you go. Couillard's closed right up. We'll be looking to get through. Mercedes alongside already. Does the Lamborghini have damage? Couillard looks to be almost ready to drive through. We're going up towards sunset, I think. Yep, Couillard just drives right around the outside of the Lamborghini. Does McCarthy have significant issues with that car following that collision with the wall? Because now Silva, new driver to this round, having picked up a vacant place, is also drawing alongside the Lamborghini. And Silva's through too. McCarthy's got to do something. He's just going backwards at the moment. If that car's damaged, would it be better having repairs? Because the next one in line is Ivanov's in the Lexus. Ivanov's closing right up on McCarthy. He just appears to have no speed at all following that collision with the wall. And McCarthy really needs to think, what is the best course of action? Ivanov's almost brushing the back bumper there of the Lamborghini. Is McCarthy going to pit? He's going to stick with it. Looks like he's sticking with it. Round the last corner. Onto the start-finish straight. Cars fan out across the track behind them. Yellon in the Ferrari, and then Hugh in the Lamborghini on the far right, out of shot. Up towards T1, and the Lexus of Ivanov's not able to click close enough to McCarthy. But it looks almost up the inside there. Surely just a matter of time before the Lexus can make an attack that sticks. They're coming up towards sunset. It's been a favourite passing point so far in this race. You see how close Yellon in the Ferrari and Hume just behind. And there you go. There's the Lexus up the inside of McCarthy. I don't think McCarthy could do anything to defend. And Yellon right onto his bumper as soon as Ivanov's is through. You'd have thought, man, he's off. McCarthy's off, catching grass. As things get worse, you start pushing harder and harder. So that's Hume and Yellon through. Ragnarsson is next. Surely it's worth getting that Lamborghini repaired. Whatever's happened to it, McCarthy's suddenly lost all speed and is dropping down the order like a stone. Every time McCarthy goes round that corner, I keep thinking the rear end of his car sliding away, but it's just a visual illusion. So Conor McCarthy having a nightmare couple of laps. We're only 15 laps in. Will he pit this time? Nope, he keeps going. He's persisting with it. Ragnarsson is also closed right up on McCarthy. And based on the way the cars were going through on McCarthy, you've got to expect Ragnarsson to be able to attack. And that Mercedes is looking up the inside. And it's straight past McCarthy. But McCarthy had the better line, but I don't think there's anything he can do about it. They've been around the hairpin at the top of the course. And the Mercedes just going to drive away down the hill, surely. And Lord Nem's on the outside. Lord Nem makes it stick. The Lexus went wide. And McCarthy is behind Priest now. Surely he's got to pit and get that car repaired. That should put him in 19th position. And at last, McCarthy gives in, pits to get the damage to the Lamborghini repaired to give himself a chance to keep in the fight. But is it too little, too late? I think he's at least 20th, and following the pit stops, he might well be very much last in the race. Meanwhile, up ahead, Velocon's closed up on Io in the Mercedes. Looks to be having a go at the inside as soon as we cut to them. Side by side, I think this is at the hairpin at the top of the course. Velocon easily in front there, drives straight past the Mercedes. So Velocon continually making up spots. And Velocon having joined 420 Racing, obviously there's a long, long way to go in this race. Manuel Duque is in 5th, Velocon in 9th. It's going to be a good points haul for 420 Racing. So up front in the lead of a race, Farrell is now just 0.3 of a second behind Aigner. Very close to each other. Aigner inheriting the lead after Van Ruynen's span. Look like his rear tyres are gone. Farrell is harassing Aigner on both sides, right on his bumper, trying to fill his mirrors, distract him and get him off the right line. And he's having a go. He's having a go at the inside. Straight through, so that's for the lead. Farrell takes the lead on lap 15. And Sajak's closed right up on these two as well. So Shadow Lotus AMR moved to the front of the race. Agner drops a second. So whilst the lead is changing out front and Farrell gets past Agner, Manuel Duque has closed right up on Danny Merchant, who's currently in 4th. These conditions allegedly suit the Bentley. He's nicknamed the Bentley boat, and it's all very wet. But the Lexus is supposed to be good in the rain as well, so it should be a close battle between these two. But it looks like the Lexus went wide there, making it easy for Manuel Duque to swing round. It's very close to each other. Duque gives a lot of room on the inside, but gets in front, and the Lexus of Danny Merchant tucks in behind. Make a small mistake there by the Lexus, just caught a little bit too much grass and too much curb. Gave the opportunity that Manuel needed, and round he went. And Lexus comes back, but comes back too strong. Went through the inside of Manuel Duque, but went straight off the track. So that mistake, that over-aggressive attempt to get the place back, has really cost Danny Merchant. Danny dropping now back by 0.5, more than that. The computer's indicating 0.5 of a second, but visually it looks like 2 seconds. And McCormick right up on Io. McCormick's always good for a pass. The Mercedes of TWG just in front of a Nissan. I think Dammit was trying to reach out for a teammate, but there's no other Nissan drivers in this tier. I think they were going to approach the league coordinator for a bye with Lord Nem, because Lord Nem also in the BMW can't find a teammate. So they were going to have special requests in to create some sort of hybrid team. We'll see how that does for the next round. McCormick, as usual, trying on the left, trying on the right, filling the mirrors, trying to distract the driver in front, and he does look to be almost getting alongside there through sunset. He is. And he's really making that Nissan work, and Dami Ios had to go a little bit wide, but Dami's got the next corner on the inside track. They're close side by side, but it's all good. And McCormick makes it stick in the end by the hair's breadth. Going through the S's and coming up the hill towards the hairpin. Dami's just got in front. And Sajak still trying to close in and get past Agner. Farrell doing a sterling job now. The gap 3 seconds back to Agner. For lap after lap, Farrell was tucked in close behind Agner. Couldn't find a way through. But the moment he's got past him, he's pulled out a gap. And Agner slightly on the back foot with Sajak filling his mirrors. The SVR team trying to get maximum points for the team's championship. They're currently down in 4th, just ahead of Beeswax Racing. So loss of a big gap there to be closed for them to move up further up the table. So every point Sajak can get will really help that. Agner having elected not to join a team at the moment. So just for the Drivers' Championship. Ferrari rejoining there on the left. That's most likely Van doing his pit stop. So Van Rooyen was leading this race for a long time, and it's a big slide there for Agner in T1, and that's around Sajak right onto his bumper. Just caught it. And the other drivers are starting to pit, so maybe Agner's tyres are going. He's off again. That definitely seems to indicate that Agner's tyres are going. Sajak slides through. And Ragnarsson, I think it is, slides through as well. In lap 23, most people doing their pit stops now with Pajarski just coming around the start. We caught a little curb there. Oh, he unsettled the car. It's gone round. Oh, he went hard into the wall then. Hard into the wall for Pajarski just as he went across the start-finish line, and now he's having a lot of trouble getting going again. Eventually, a lot of damage to the front of the Aston Martin there. And just a maroon, look at the bonnet coming loose there. A lot of damage. Pajarski did that in the worst place possible. He's just past the pit entrance on the very last corner. He's got, of all people, McCormick alongside him. Straight through. McCormick will strap that one up as well. It's a good job McCormick doesn't collect 5-bar gates on the side of his doors for all the passes he makes, because his door will be covered by now. Turning into the Daniel Ricciardo of Tier 7 is McCormick. Going wide and loses it again. Oh, really hard into the wall that time. That was a massive hit. And the Aston Martin wanders somewhat drunkenly across the track. As a result, the bonnet jammed open. I don't think I've ever seen that before in terms of damage. And it doesn't look like he can get it to go straight. Przajski, significant damage to his Aston Martin. He's looking very poorly. He's definitely got to pit and get that repaired. He'll have the "you must require." Oh, he goes straight on. Can't control that car at all anymore. He'll definitely have the meatball flag instructing him he must pit for repairs. Although there's never any question for that. Look how slowly he's going. Just trying to get the car back to the pits. And this is the problem with the track in this sort of situation. And just for fun there, Hume's off as well, just in front of him, joining the club. Hume's Lamborghini not looking quite as battered as Przajski's Aston Martin. Przajski will have to go gentle on the throttle, and he's into the pits, but he's even struggling to get into the pits in a straight line. It'll take a while for the pit crew to sort that out. That's probably Przajski's race, significantly damaged, so McCarthy is still currently in 19th, and Przajski has significantly damaged his car, so those two championship rivals, well, at least are in the same boat. Przajski, you can expect to be right down the field once those repairs are completed and he returns to the race. So we join Farrell, having just finished his pit stop, rejoining the track, and gets a drive through. There must have been some sort of infringement there in the pits. It's not a stop-go, which is normally, I believe, the penalty for speeding, but whatever Farrell's done, he's got a drive through. So having driven so strongly from the start of the race, getting past Aigner to take the lead and building a small cushion up, whatever has happened in the pits is thrown it away. A drive-through penalty has been awarded. So Aigner, once the pit stops have all settled out, is likely to be in the prime spot at the moment to take the lead back again. So Van Rooyen now down in 15th place. Did qualify on pole and was leading the race for quite some time, but it's not gone well for him, clearly. All the way down here, most of the pit stops have been concluded now, so well out of position from where he started. Just ahead of him is Ragnarsson and new driver Silva. Coming down to the final corner of the circuit, onto the start-finish straight. Van Rooyen jumps over to his left to cool his tyres, as do Silva and Ragnarsson. It looks like Ragnarsson's going to attack Silva up the inside into T1. Oh, and I think there was a bit of a coming together there. It looks like Silva suddenly pulled to his left, maybe to try and avoid Ragnarsson, but unfortunately Van Rooyen was there. They both collided. Rooyen picks it up. I'm not sure how Silva's ahead as well. So 2 into 1 does not fit, is the classic saying with motor racing. And the Lexus there of Ivanov's in the mix. So at the moment the computer is showing Ragnarsson coming out of all of that in 11th, because he just got the pass made on Silva. Silva managed to recover from the collision with Van Rooyen and moved to 12th. Ivanov came out of the pits and jumped into the mix and is in 13th. Van Rooyen, after a slight glance off the wall, is in 14th place. Just with Steph Farrell serving that drive through for some infringement. McCormick in the background in the pits. Is he getting the repairs done? That Nissan's looking a bit sorry for itself, seeing better days. Steph rejoins. It'll take the computer a while. Showing Belocon just in front, so that would imply he's in 6th place. Which isn't too bad, really. That's recoverable, I would suggest. Just wait for the computer to catch up with itself for the next sector. That is Belocon in front. So, yep, Farrell is in 6th, so not a complete disaster. Obviously not ideal. But if you consider that Danny Merchant in 1st place, I believe may yet need to pit. Eigner in 2nd is really in 1st, so it's where Danny Merchant re-enters the fray from their pit stop. So admire the fully repaired Nissan. Look at that, beautiful now. No bits hanging off it. Let's see how long that lasts before he puts it into the wall. So with Lord Nem and Ivanovs on lap 28, we're still awaiting official confirmation of Lord Nem's Lord status. There's a growing suspicion that he may have just made that up and is claiming to be a Lord. We await to see. Ivanovs in front in the Lexus, electing to go for a stealthy all-black livery. I think that's fine now, Ivanovs, but we best be careful for when we have a night race. Going to be difficult to see yet. I hope you thought that all the way through. And Lord Nem trying to distract Ivanovs, make him go offline. Through to the final corner, start the next lap. Ivanovs goes a little bit wide, but it's not enough to let Lord Nem through. Another Lexus directly in front is Danny Merchant, who's leading the race. I think that's just waiting for his pit stop. Lord Nem has a look for T1, but nope, not close enough. Ivanovs goes well into the grass there. On the rear end, steps out. That'll be enough. Lord Nem's through. Ivanovs a little bit lucky. The car gripped and didn't slide too much, so he's able to rejoin the track. And Yelon, no, is right behind him now. So at last, from lap 29, Danny Merchant pits from a lead. Eigner, Sajak, Duque will all be breathing sighs of relief. I would suggest that the lead of a race now will go to Eigner, with Sajak in 2nd, Duque in 3rd. I think Belocon will be 4th. And it's Steph Farrell, who Danny Merchant's got to look at. Big gap down to Demi Ayo in 7th place. So Steph Farrell is where we need to be looking when Danny Merchant rejoins the track. Where is Steph? Looks to be coming down towards the end of the lap to me. Yep, going through the crocodiles. Oh, caught a lot of curb there. Very lucky to keep that together. Coming around the last corner. Dammy's just pulling out the pits, so it is going to be close. He's just on the start-finish straight. Steph. There he is. I don't think he's close enough. In fact, is Belocon close enough? There's Danny Merchant. Erty just going off there in the background. He's round T1. And Belocon. Hard to tell from that camera angle where Belocon is. I think Danny is in 5th place. Just going into sunset. So not at the end of the first sector yet. I think he'll be in 5th. Can't be certain. There's Belocon in the background. Ooh, Danny Merchant very lucky there to retain 4th place. Belocon right behind him. And Farrell just a little further down the road. Belocon closed right in on Danny Merchant. He's not going to let that go. If the Bentleys can finish line astern, then the number of points that 420 Racing will secure will be immense, and may well propel them a long way up the team's championship table. Aigner not a factor for the team's championship. Aigner has not joined a team. Sajak has. However, his teammate Yelon is down in 14th. And Duque, his teammate Bellicon, who's made it, he's got round the Lexus. So Bellicon now behind Manuel Duque. Both of these in the 420 racing team. We're in lap 34. Steph Farrell closing right in on Danny Merchant. So Danny held on to the lead for quite some time, but after his pit stop, Belocon got him shortly afterwards. Now Farrell's closed in. Farrell will be hunting. Got a drive-through penalty, which may well have fired him up following his pit stop. And of course was leading and worked long and hard to get past Aigner and take the lead of the race, and was a few seconds ahead. So I had something of a cushion, but something went wrong in the pit stop, and as a result he had to do a drive-through penalty. That's pushed him all the way down into 6th. We'll be hoping to make that 5th very soon if he can get hold of Danny Merchant and get past him. Try and force the Lexus into a mistake as they go around the hairpin at the top of the course. Not in a right position there to put Danny Merchant on the wrong line. A little twitch there from the Lexus. Neither driver diving to cool their tyres, and the Aston Martin right on the tail of the Lexus as they come down the hill. Steph trying to take a slightly different line, try and get more speed through the crocodiles. And approaching the last corner of the lap. This corner, the one that seems to have caught everybody out the most. We've seen a lot of spinners in this area. But not this time. Danny Merchant pulls away. Steph Farrell right on his bumper again. Looking for a toe down the start-finish straight. Going to try the outside. Try and sweep round and carry more speed. While Danny Merchant goes defensive on the inside. They're side by side. He's going to make it stick. I think he has, but no. Wasn't enough. Only just stayed on the track, but he didn't carry enough speed to get past the Lexus, and now he's slightly behind. Coming round again towards Sunset. The Lexus trying to close the line off on the outside that Steph's trying to take. Nose to tail round Sunset. Farrell jinks to the right, but Merchant covers it off. Farrell tries the switch around. Not having it. Oh, did they touch? Did they touch then? The Lexus suddenly span out and it was unclear whether the Aston Martin touched the back of it. Whatever, Steph did not lift and has just driven on. Danny Merchant will fall behind into 6th place. We join the leaders out front. Aigner still in the lead, having inherited it when Steph Farrell got a drive-through penalty following his pit stop. The Ferrari there of Sajak has been close on Aigner ever since he went through to the lead, trying to make a mistake and get that prime position. All drivers moving straight over to the left to try and cool their tyres down. Dropping down the hill from the hairpin. Crocodile, a difficult corner, but not as lethal as the next one with a big sausage curb. Just leading up towards the final corner of the circuit. Oh, and just as we talk about them, Sajak caught that big sausage curb, launched his Ferrari right into the air, went into a gravel trap, so Duque is through. Oh, and the Ferrari has a slide as well. Sajak drops the 3rd. Duque into 2nd, and Aigner will breathe a sigh of relief that the Sajak, who was all over the back of the Aston Martin, has dropped back into 3rd place. So rejoin the leaders on lap 36. Duque is now closed in within just over half a second of Aigner. Well, basically he's all over the bumper of the Aston Martin. Agner not been as dominant as last week. Both Steph has been past him. Sajak was all over him, and now Duque has caught up with him. And Duque going up the outside, going up the hill towards the hairpin. Keeps it on the outside, brave move. Agner on the inside, should be the better line, but Duque somehow carrying massive amounts of speed around the outside. They're side by side coming down the hill, but Duque sweeps through the corner ahead of the Aston Martin. And Sajak's there as well, trying to follow through with Duque. Sajak on the outside of the Aston Martin. And Sajak follows through as well. Agner down to third in just a few corners. Duque swinging down to the last corner, onto the start-finish straight. He'll be starting lap 37. Sajak behind him. Agner down into third place. The Mercedes behind should not be considered. It's a lap down. That is the Ragnarsson's Mercedes. But Duque into first place. Sajak follows him through in second, and Agner into third. So we're into lap 34. Silver in 8th place, just ahead of McCormick, coming up the hill towards the hairpin. McCormick drawing up there close. Over a little tap on the back of Silver, who loses it, goes off into the grass, and then gets smashed into heavily by the Lamborghini of Hume. Massive amount of damage to the Aston Martin. And Hume as well. Just off camera with significant amount of damage. Aston Martin looks uncontrollable. We'll have to pit for repairs. I think they both will. Usually a good indication is if you can see the glass in the windscreen is smashed, the car is undrivable and will have to pit for repairs. So Silver was driving well in his first event, but that's really going to put him well out of the contention. That's one to go to the stewards. It looked like a little tap perhaps on the McCormick behind, but whether or not there was an overspeed or what may have caused it, that's for the stewards to figure out. McCormick moves into 8th place, Lord Nem into 9th, Silver, well, he's showing 10th at the moment, but he won't be 10th when he comes out the pits. So a little further down the field, a driver we've not seen much of today, Coutillard, coming up on McCarthy. They're just about to enter their 35th lap. The leader's well over the line. Coutillard having a quiet race today, from at least in terms of featuring in the action. McCarthy having a difficult race. Managed to get back to P14, but lost lots of places early on. Coutillard has a look at the inside and to illustrate the problems that McCarthy may be having with the Lamborghini. Coutillard just drove straight through on the inside. Lamborghini's well down the field. McCarthy in 14th, Hume currently in 20th. And it seems the weather and combination of the Kyalami track has really not suited some cars. They've really struggled on this track. And it would look like McCarthy, maybe one of those drivers who suffered. So it's round T1 of lap 39. Duque still in front. Sajak close behind. Looks like the Mercedes of Coutillard just in front of these two. Agner's dropped 4 seconds away from this leading pair. And he's now coming under a lot of pressure from Balocon. There's a few back markers between these two and Agner, which will help create a bit of a gap. Duque will have to resist the pressure coming from Sajak. Duque closing in rapidly on the back marker Coutillard. Should be getting blue flags. Oh, Coutillard spun right in front of... How did Duque miss Coutillard then? He spun right in front of him. Must have slammed the brakes on. Sajak took the opportunity and moves through. But Duque only just missed the spinning Mercedes of Coutillard. Must have had his heart in his mouth. He's tucked in behind the Ferrari, Sajak. What a way to lose the lead. The back marker spinning right in front of you. So Duque got it all to do again, this time with Sajak. And we cut to Aigner and Balocon side by side. And it's hard to tell which battle to follow. Duque coming back at the Ferrari, or Balocon trying to get past the Aston Martin. Possibly a sheepish Coulthard there in the background, having just spun out in front of the leader. Sort of fate no driver wants. Duque may well be all fired up after that incident. He must certainly have his adrenaline pumping. Still has the Ferrari in sight. Balocon did it. Let's just jump back and have a replay of that one. So let's have a look again at how Balocon managed to get past the Aston Martin. Goes wide, forces Aigner to come across and defend, and follows him through. That's turn one. No way through on these next couple of corners unless you try a very ambitious dive up the inside. A spun car there on the left. Maybe that was the distraction that was needed. So there was a car off onto the right side of the track, and Balocon came out of that in front of Aigner. It looked like one of the Lexuses. I think it may have been Danny Merchant, or it could have been Priest. It's one of the Lexuses anyway. Was off on the side of a track. That might have proven all the distraction that was required. So drivers spinning, possibly a result of tyres being totally dead this far into the race. Crossing the line to begin lap 43. Sajak still leads from Duque. Over on the left hand side of a track to cool his tyres. Duque electing to use the right hand side of a track to cool his tyres. Not as much water over there, I think. Through T1. And is Duque going to get an opportunity? The gap now is 1.2 seconds to the Ferrari. Oh, and Sajak has a little slide there going through that corner. That may have opened the door to Duque. It has. The Bentley moves in front, and that little slide just cost Sajak first place. We're at 43 laps. There can't be many laps to go. There must be only about 7 laps left in this race. And given how hard it was for Sajak to get past Duque in the first place, is he going to be able to get back past him again? So Duque sweeps down the hill, round the left-hander. And Sajak has a brave dive up the inside there. That was a bit wild. Duque had to take avoiding action. Sajak went wide and Duque moves back in front again. Sajak slips back behind. So they avoided each other. But Sajak showing perhaps a little desperation there, trying to get that place back. Perhaps frustrated with himself for the mistake that let Duque go back through. So the gap always opening and closing. Trying to take a different line to Duque, trying to put him off. Right on the bumper of the Bentley, coming up towards Sunset. Duque stays over to the right to try and block the line. Sajak swings around the outside. They're side by side through Sunset. Can Sajak make it work? It's sliding. The Ferrari was sliding there, but he's on the inside for the next corner. Sajak takes the place back. Duque into second. Duque tries to attack next. Up the inside of the next corner. Sajak on the outside. And Sajak on the inside for the next following corner through the S's. And they're climbing up the hill again towards the hairpin. Duque loose to the left. Too far back. Sajak determined not to lose that first position. And with all this drama, Balocon has closed up into third. And the Ferrari goes a bit wide there and catches a bit of grass. And goes very wide as a consequence of the next corner. Balocon will go through with Duque. Sajak surely must be down to third. The two Bentleys in front of him now. Pushing too hard. Sajak, and Balocon went off track there and spun back across the track. Sajak just missed him. Balocon might drop behind Aigner. Big gap to Aigner. He might be okay. It's all sorts of drama in the last few laps of this race. In lap 41 now. And McCormick closing in on another driver. This time it's Danny Merchant. I believe these two have had battles in the past. Already, we're only 3 races into this season, and McCormick just drives past the Lexus with apparent ease there. Oh, he's got new tyres on. McCormick can certainly hustle the Nissan around. The Lexus seems to have no defence there. So McCormick into 6th, Merchant down into 7th. And with Danny Merchant and Dami Ayo. Danny Merchant passed a few laps ago by McCormick in the Nissan, with what appeared to be relative ease. You got to wonder if Danny Merchant's tyres are perhaps going off. That would explain why McCormick passed so easily and how Ayo was caught up so quickly. Coming down the start-finish straight into their lap 45. Coming up to T1. Oh, big closing speed there, and Ayo caught the back of Danny Merchant's Lexus, but does the chivalrous thing and waits for Danny Merchant to rejoin the track before commencing, as requested by Apex Online Racing Regulations. Don't think there was anything malicious in it. I think it was just a misunderstanding of the braking that perhaps Danny Merchant has to do. It's possible his tyres are that badly shot. He's having trouble stopping for the corners. Caught Ayo off guard perhaps. Go around Sunset. It's only a matter of time, surely. If Danny Merchant's tyres are that far gone, he's got no defence against the very, very fast Mercedes. And Ayo dives up the inside. This time no contact. And Ayo's through the S's and up the hill. And there's nothing Danny Merchant can do about that, looking at the way his car's performing. I'm assuming his tyres are completely shot. So they're coming down the hill on the last lap. Manuel Duque leading out Sajak. With Balocon 3 seconds further down the road. So coming towards the end now of the third round of Season 5 of the GT3 Championship. Tier 7. Certainly the Drivers' Championship looks like it's going to be quite tight. And the Teams' Championship, with this big result for Bentley, will be even closer. SVR team for Ferrari also not doing too badly for points today. The Shadow Lotus AMR team again picking up points. Farrell in 5th, but not so good for Projarski down in 15th. And Dami Ayo of TWG Motorsports brings one of the Mercedes home in 7th from the looks of things. And Ragnarsson looks to be finishing in 12th place. So it'll be very interesting to see where the Teams Championship pans out following the result of this round of the GT3 Championship. So let's have a look at the official results across the line for the round 3 of the GT3 Championship for Tier 7. Manuel Duque of 420 Racing finishes in 1st place, followed very closely by Thomas Sajek of SBR team. A race-long battle amongst all the top finishers. In 3rd place is Lev Balocon of 420 Racing, who started from the back of the field, so getting up to 3rd, an impressive result. In 4th, in the end, it was Steph Farrell of Shadow Lotus AMR. In 5th, Hubert Aigner, so Hubert dropped back just towards the end of the race. And in 6th, it's Antonis McCormick, who we saw battling all race long, overtaking cars left, right and centre. In 7th, Dami Ayo of TWG Motorsports, so not a great day for TWG, their highest place finisher in 7th. 8th was Danny Merchant, 9th Lord Nem, in 10th Daniel Yellen of SVR Team. Other finishers of note were Sindri Ragnarsson in 12th for TWG Motorsports, Conal McCarthy, who was in the Drivers' Championship, finishing 13th, Kilo Pajarski, who was locked in close battle with Conal McCarthy in the Drivers' Championship, in the end finished 15th, and Kilo, the other driver for the Shadow Lotus AMR team. Michael van Ruyen, who led for a very early portion of the race, finished down in 16th. F. Silva, in his first outing in AOR, finished in 18th following an incident towards the end of a race. And a very bad evening for the McLaren 720S, finishing well down the order on all fronts. 19th place, Steve Bezic for Beeswax Racing, and 22nd place, Nils Nins for Beeswax Racing, and Dominic Hees Pedro Vieira both counted as non-finishers for this event. So let's have a look how those results affect the Drivers' Championship for Tier 7. Hubert Eigner retains first place on the table, followed closely by Antonius McCormick, who moves up into second place following his good result tonight. And Manuel Duque of 420 Racing moves into third place following victory in this round, moving 6 places up the championship table. Right behind him into 4th place comes Thomas Sajek of SVR Team, a new entry into the top 10. In 5th place, Kirill Fajarski of Shadow Lotus AMR moves down 1 place. Also moving down 1 place is Conal McCarthy in his Lamborghini. Dropping down 5 places into 7th, John Becker, who was unable to make the race this week, so loses out massively. 8th place is a new entry into the top 10 Drivers' Championship for Steph Farrell, following an excellent drive for Shadow Lotus AMR and finishing in 4th place. Dropping 3 places is Nectaria Kultiar, who didn't have a good night tonight. And in 10th place, rounding out the top 10, is Dami Ayo of TWG Motorsport, who is a fresh entry into the top 10 table. Moving on to the Teams Championship, it's all change. 420 Racing moved to the top of the table with a victory and a 3rd place for the Bentleys on this round. Shadow Lotus AMR, with 2 cars inside the top 10, are in 2nd place. SVR Team, with an excellent result for Thomas Sajek in 2nd place, move up the table into 3rd place, moving above TWG Motorsport for Mercedes, who didn't have the greatest night. Dami Ayo was a little bit further down the results. Sindri Ragnarsson was well outside the top 10. Beeswax Racing had a miserable night. The McLaren did not suit Kyalami in the damp conditions, both finishing well down the order, so Team Beeswax Racing at the bottom of the table, coming away from Kyalami. Mark's made an extremely long highlights video this week. There was a hell of a lot of action in round 3 for the GT3 Championship in Tier 7. It was wall-to-wall overtaking, mishaps and events. Next round will be at Misano. It'll be a 60-minute race, so hopefully it won't be such a nightmare to edit after the race is completed. That will take place on Tuesday, the 6th of October, with qualifying to commence at 7:30, followed directly by the race. And also coming up soon is the next Apex Online Endurance event. This next event will be taking place at Circuit Paul Ricard. It'll be 9 hours endurance race, and I can confirm that Beeswax Racing will enter 2 cars for that event. Sign-ups are available now on the Apex Online forums, so please assemble your team and sign up, and we'll see you out there on the track. I hope you've enjoyed this show. It's been extremely long, but it's all the fault of the drivers who were far too busy out on the track for this event. Please leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy the show, and comments are always welcome. Thanks a lot for watching. See you next time.